All right, sixth grade. Well, we're getting into absolute value today. This is lesson 8.4. We're moving right along here, and our focus today is on finding the absolute value. Okay? And so when we think about a absolute value, our focus is on how far something is away from zero. Okay? So when I think about the absolute value of -7, I'm thinking, well, how far away is that from zero? When I think about a number line, remember what we're envisioning with the zero in the middle, and then as it goes to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then as it goes to the left, it's the -1, -2, -3, -4, and so forth. So when I talk about -7 and how far away that is from zero, the absolute value of -7 is simply 7. Not hard, because -7 is 7 spots away from zero. 1 3/5. Well, how far away is that from zero? Well, it's 1 3/5 away from zero. When I go to 3.7, I think, well, how far away is that from zero? Well, I'd have to go down 3.7. That's the absolute value. -2 and 38 hundredths. How far away is that from zero? Well, it's 2 and 38 hundredths from zero. Notice that absolute values are all positive. There's no negatives. It's just how many spots, how far away is it from zero? -7 is 7 away from zero. 3 and 7/10 is 3 and 7/10 away from zero. 1 3/5 is 1 3/5 away from zero. And -2 and 38 hundredths is 2 and 38 hundredths away from zero. Not a difficult concept. All right, well, the next part of it, and the second part of our video here for lesson 8.4, is to compare using the less than, greater than, or equal to sign. Of course, we know equal means they're equivalent, they're the same. We always point to the smaller number with the mouth being open to the bigger number. So if I was using this sign, the smaller number would be over here, the bigger number would be over here. If I was using this sign, the bigger number would be over here, the smaller number would be over here. So when I'm comparing 7 and the absolute value of -8, you'll notice that the absolute value has these bars, okay? That's kind of what we didn't really focus on. Absolute value has these bars around it, and it's those bars that indicate absolute value. So when you see those bars, that means we're talking about the absolute value, which, as we talked about, is how far away it is from zero. Well, here we have 7, that's just 7. Here we have the absolute value of -8. Well, how far is -8 away from zero? Well, it's 8 away from zero. Then I'm determining which is bigger, well, 7 or 8. Well, as a sixth grader, I should know that 8 is bigger than 7. So when I go to this one, I have the absolute value of -4 and then just 4. Well, so I have to figure out what the absolute value of -4 is. How far away is it from zero? Well, it's 4 away from zero. And then I'm figuring, well, how does 4 compare with 4? Well, it's equal. All right, this next one, -7 and 475 thousandths. 7 and 476 thousandths. This is the absolute value of -7 and 475 thousandths. How far away is that from zero? Well, that's 7 and 475 thousandths away from zero. This is the absolute value of 7 and 476 thousandths. The absolute value of 7 the absolute value of 7 and 476 thousandths, or how far away it is from zero, is 7 and 476 thousandths. Well, when I want to compare which is bigger, remember when I'm comparing decimals, the 7 in the ones place is the same. The 4 in the tenths place is the same. The 7 in the hundredths place is the same. Here I have a 5 in the thousandths place, but here I have a 6 in the thousandths place. So the 6 in the thousandths place means that's the bigger number. Last one, 3/4 and the absolute value of -2/5. Well, so 3/4 is just 3/4. The absolute value of -2/5 is going to be 2/5. How far away is it from 0? 2/5. So once again, remembering those bars indicate absolute value. Well, to compare fractions, 3/4 and 2/5, I first need to find a common denominator. So I'm going to come over here, give myself a little room here. 3/4, 2/5. To compare fractions, I need a common denominator, just like I was adding or subtracting. So I'm thinking, well, find a common denominator. 5 times 1 is 5. That's not going to work with 4. 5 times 2 is 10. That's not going to work with 4. Because remember what I do, I always work with the bigger denominator. 5 times 3 is 15. I can't take 4 times something and get 15. 5 times 4 is 20. And that will work because I know that 4 times 5 is 20. So both of these are going to become something over 20. Well, I did 4 times 5 to get 20. So I have to do 3 times 5. That gives me 15. I did 5 times 4 to get 20. So I got to do 2 times 4. That gives me 8. So that tells me that 3/4 is equivalent to 15 over 20, and that 2/5 is equivalent to 8 over 20. 15 over 20 is greater than 8 over 20, because 15 is greater than 8, which means that 3/4 is greater than 2/5, which means that's going to be my sign that I use. All right, so that's comparing, using absolute value, finding absolute value. Shouldn't be too difficult. We'll talk to you later, 6th grade. Bye.